Hi, my name is Slobodán Живковиć, and today we'll be talking about getting to know someone. We can get to know someone or want to get to know someone from various reasons. Over the years, some of these reasons change and some again not. Maybe we find someone interesting and we want to get to know that someone. Maybe we want to play games with that someone. Maybe we want something else. Maybe we're just killing time. Who knows? Over the years, I have found a lot of things and sayings and quotes about getting to know someone. But the very first I heard a long time ago, was this. It was said some 400 years ago by John Donne. No man is an island, entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. It is interesting how some things even said this long ago have meaning 400 years afterwards. So, how would you define why do we make friends? Here's another saying, a bit different, and it was said by a great man, well, more than 100 years ago. So, the man is Oscar Wilde, and he's explaining here why do we need conversation in all the companionship we have. Companionship meaning not just friendship, but any other kind of relationship. And he says, ultimately, the bond of all companionship, whether in marriage or in friendship, is conversation. So, try to find a way to explain to yourself why you need to have a good conversation. Up to now, getting to know someone was usually explained something like this. So the first time we always say hi. If you noticed, I also started this presentation with hi. Or we can say hello or any other version of it. Good day, good morning, or anything else, anything like that. After that, we usually ask some different questions and get different answers. Good news is we're not going to talk about this today exactly, or we're not going to talk about this like this. Of course, this is a perfectly legit way to talk about this. You will get lots of information and you will get to know someone. Today I'm going to talk about a slightly different way to talk about someone or to someone. And I would like to introduce, maybe not rules, better say advice for talking to someone. And advice number one, definitely, would be do not, and I repeat, do not multitask. What I mean by this is, if you want to know, to get to know someone, you need to find time. And you need to know how much time approximately you can spare for this. 5 minutes that you have and you're ready to commit those 5 minutes to getting to know a person is much better than 1 hour spent talking to someone and then not knowing what you talked about. or sometimes even who you talked to. So if you really want to get to know someone, commit your time, spend some time solely on that person. Do not multitask. There is one more way of looking at this. For example, let's say that you can do 5 things at a time. You can wash dishes, you can watch television, you can make a cake, and I don't know what, and talk to that someone over phone. What do you think? What does this person think of you? Does that person really think that you are really great and capable of everything and anything, and can talk to you? Or maybe, well, under B, maybe that person thinks that you are not worthy of their time, because if they are committing their time and spending time talking to you, maybe they expect nothing less from you. So commit time, spend some time getting to know someone. Of course, make sure that that someone is worth knowing, of course. Well, while you're talking or listening, how shall I put this? Don't talk about yourself. Don't make it all around or about you. You could be the most important part in your universe, but you are not the most important in anybody else's universe. Well, maybe except your mom and dad, of course. And if you really want to know someone, I think it's better to listen and learn how to listen to someone than speak about yourself or the things that you like. Of course, if someone wants to know, you always say what you need to say. Don't make it, me, myself, and I. It's pretty boring, actually. And here's, a few things people have said over time about listening. Every good conversation starts with listening. And here's from a guy who really knew how to write, and apparently he knew how to listen. And he said, "I like to listen. I have learned a great deal from listening carefully. Most people never listen." So there's people listen very superficially in order just to reply to the question or something like that. And this way you don't really get to know the person you're talking to. Conversation is not just talking. A conversation involves two people listening to each other. And here's another guy, great guy, about listening. He said that you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. And it was said by Dale Carnegie. So, by the way, it is, when you come to think of it, easier to listen than to talk. So be lazy, do what's easier. Another good point in this is ask open-ended questions. What does this mean? Open-ended questions, if you tell someone the answer to your question or limit their answers to yes or no or something like that, you will never get their real thoughts, opinions on the subject you're interested in. So instead of asking, did you like the concert? Maybe you could ask something like, how did the concert make you feel? How did the concert make not just you feel, but people around you feel? What was the atmosphere like? Or what do you think? Did they nail it? Or anything like that. Or, for example, in a particular situation, instead of asking, were you scared? Maybe you could ask about their impressions. How was it like? Of course, the easiest way to explain this is you ask questions starting with who, or where, or how much, or how big, or how plus some adjective, okay? And of course, what, and when, and why, or anything like that. And you'll get answers which will give you much more information and reveal real thoughts on the subject. So give your the people you're talking to chance to answer and give some real thoughts on the subject. This is very important. People really think that if you don't know something, or that people will think that they're stupid, or that they will not want to get to know them better. People like to present themselves as all-knowing, or all capable of doing anything and everything, and that's not true. Think about this. If people get to think that you're all-knowing, all-seeing creature, they will expect this from you all the time. They will expect this, and ask yourself one question: are you really, really all-knowing, all-seeing? If you are, then you know the answer to all the questions, and well, any conversation will be boring to you. So, to us pure mortals, a word of advice: if you don't know, say then that you don't know. I'm a teacher, and I don't know everything. So when I don't know, well, maybe I'll say it in a different form. For example, I'll say something like, "Oh, I'm not sure. I'll have to check, and I'll get back to you." I think this is much better than pretending that you know something or everything. In my case, English is a fluid language, and things happen on a daily basis, and you cannot know everything. So if I don't pretend, maybe you shouldn't pretend either. Try not to repeat yourself. Maybe you've experienced this, maybe you haven't. So, but when you explain something or tell something to someone, and there's a slight pause, you tend to you try to explain it in a different way, and then try again and again and again and again and again. And all that person really needed was time to process things, to think about what you are saying. Give them time. Do not try to explain it more than you have explained it during the first time. Do not try to do it in another way. Oh, by the way, I am repeating myself, am I not? So I'll stop repeating myself, and please stop repeating yourselves, because it's a bit condescending. You're belittling the other guy, so don't. And remember, repetition is not conversation. Don't pay too much attention to details. I know what you're going to say, or at least I can guess. Devil's in the details, of course it is. But does it really matter if the thing that a person you're interested in is saying, does it really matter if it happened 10 years ago or 11 years ago? Does it really, do you really have to know the name of their uncle or aunt, the exact date? Is it really important when you're talking to someone telling a story? Does it really matter if they remember your aunt's name or uncle's name, something like that? It isn't. The important is the message that you're trying to get through to them. And if they get the message, well, dates, names, numbers, they don't really matter, and they're not truly important. So I think people would really appreciate it if you could keep those dates and names and numbers for some later time in the future, or if that person really wants to know that particular, I don't know, number, name, or date, well, of course, by no means, say it. Tell them. They asked for it. Now, as this presentation, be brief. Being brief is really important, because the best conversation in the world, or the best presentation in the world, if it lasts too long, well, it's not really the best. If it takes you 2 days to explain to someone something, maybe you should stop explaining. If you talk too much, even if you have a lot to say, well, in small dosage, people, give yourself to other people in small dosage. Keep them waiting. They will get, if you give them something in small dosage of yourself, of course, they will want more. If you give them a large dose of yourself, maybe you'll see them running away from you. So being brief is really important. And I found some really interesting comparisons how a good conversation should look like. And the first one is my favorite. A good conversation is like, what do you think? Can you give a comparison of your own? Is it like a good strawberry jam? Is it like what? Like what? What do you think? This one is the best for me, a good conversation is like a miniskirt. And why is that? Because it is short enough to keep someone interested, and yet long enough to cover the subject. Or, another option, a good conversation is like a cup of good, strong black coffee. Well, the first one, as I don't drink coffee, is much better than the second one, for me at least. But if you drink and like a good, strong coffee, well, this is a comparison just for you. And why is a good conversation like a cup of good, strong black coffee? Well, it's stimulating and just as hard to sleep after. And this was said by Anne Morrow Lindbergh. Well, I had a lot more to say on the subject, but I think these 7 points are really, really good. You don't have to get to be good at all 7. If you're really good at 1 or 2 or 3, I think you will make a good conversationalist, someone people really like to talk to and get to know. And you will really get to know people and have meaningful conversations. Meaningful conversations are what matter. Don't talk like it's cheap. Talk should not be cheap, and you should really be aware what you're talking and who are you talking to, and be interested in people and learn from people you want. So another piece of advice, I really like this, and it was said by Frank Sheed. And one way to prevent the conversation from being boring is to say the wrong thing. Well, maybe I have said a lot of wrong things today, but I hope it wasn't boring. Thank you, and I hope to see you soon. By the way, every time I'm thinking about the lecture, I prepare and listen and search. This was inspired by a TED Talk with Celeste Headley. What's a TED Talk? Well, it's a short, carefully prepared talk, demonstration, or performance that cover a wide range of subjects. So here is a link if you would like to talk to or talk about this subject more, or learn something about this more subject. This lady really has a lot to say on this subject. Homework. Well, good news is, there is no homework, like you don't need to write something on the subject or do something on the subject. Bad news. Oh, no bad news today. Sorry. Another good news is, if you really want to get to know someone, have a meaningful, not too brief and not too long conversation with someone. Thank you for your patience, and I hope to see you next time.